Well, let's talk about, well, an impending crisis that has been averted, albeit temporarily, in the oil and gas industry. Dangote refineries versus PENGASSAN. The daggers were drawn. But very early yesterday morning, we got that statement from the Ministry of Labour saying, well, the parties have agreed to suspend issues and sort of reconcile. But when you look at the details of the agreement, more questions arise. And we're joined on the program this morning by PENGASSAN President and, of course, TUC President, Comrade Festus Usifo, to really walk us through the behind the scenes and what to expect in the future. Good morning, Comrade. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Kayode. Good morning, Kayode. Good morning, Bukola. Good morning to viewers. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. A lot of people may have missed that communique yesterday, or the statement by the ministry yesterday, but it was a very important one. You have spoken about the agreement, saying you agreed to suspend the action, but there are gray areas on the one hand, and you will not give notice next time if you're going to take action. I wonder for you what you have to say first to people who say it looks like PENGASSAN is holding the shorter end of the stick now, because they expected a win-win solution, but it looks like one party won more than the other, because if those workers are going to be reabsorbed, but not to the refinery, but to other areas, isn't that a loss? How do you speak to that, and what, made you accept that offer, Comrade?
Yes, Kayode, first, if you see that agreement, we did not sign the agreement. Normally, it was supposed to be signed by us and, three parties. We did not sign it because we felt that some things in that agreement we are not quite okay with. So it wasn't really an agreement per se, but it was a communication issue by the Chief Conciliator of the Federation, that is the Minister of Labour and Employment. But when we subjected it to our neck, we looked at it, Kayode, it depends on what we are prioritizing. Some of the media houses, but not channels, they were out there that, the only thing we are interested in was our check-up deals. But we said no. What we are interested in is the livelihood of these people. That what we are interested in is actually how our members will go back to work and be able to take care of their family. Kayode, we prioritize that over anything else. But on the table, that was not our position. Our position was very clear. Take the people back to work. Take them to the refinery. Then Dangote's position was that he wasn't going to take them. That he wasn't going to take them back at all. So that was his own position. So we had two diverse positions, but the Chief Conciliator of the Federation now came with the other government functionary. So they now did this as a middle way. So it was actually government that came up with this. Not that Dangote on its own at the beginning also agreed with this point. No. We had our extreme position, they had their extreme position, but government now came in and said, okay, this is what we think would work. So when we subjected this to our neck prioritized first the livelihood and the sustenance of these people above anything else, to demonstrate to the world that it wasn't about check-up deals, to demonstrate to the world two things. One, Kayode, which is key. The very first thing is that we needed to send a signal that what Dangote, the release that Dangote did was totally not correct. To say these people have sabotaged the process. In fact, in the meeting, there were a lot of words. There were a lot of unprinted words that they called our members. But we've been able to put that to rest. Because if we had allowed that sabotage to stand, what it means is that these 800 plus people, they can't even look for a job anywhere tomorrow. That toga of saboteur will remain with them forever. So that has been cleared. So for us, that is a very big win. Because young engineers who just left university yesterday, you are calling them saboteurs. Some of them are 25, 30 years old. Then they have like 30 years more to work. So first of all, we are able to dispense with that. Then secondly, restoring back their job, because we are prioritizing their families. over anything else. Like I said, in the meeting, we had our position. That was why we did not sign the communique. But when we got to the next, when we reviewed it after the meeting, we felt, okay, let's prioritize the family first before anything else. So that was actually why the NEC said, let us respect federal government, because there was other conversations that went on behind the scene that was not also captured in the communique. There were promises that were made to us by the government because they were seriously under pressure. So when they made those promises to us and they appealed, so on our part, we needed to take the moral high ground. As long as we did not fully agree with the content of the communique, but we wanted to take that moral high ground to prove to Nigerians that PENGASSAN is an extremely patriotic association, and that we are prioritizing the lives, the sustenance of our members than anything else.
It's been said, pardon me, that you cannot force an employee on an employer, no matter what. If an employer said, I don't want you again, it's futile to say, no, take him back, take her back, because it's going to end up in tears. So are you confident that this will work? Because there are fears that, first off, they didn't take them back into the refinery, they're putting them elsewhere. It's probably a process to just ease them out silently. Are you confident that this will stand?
Kayode, PENGASSAN has been around before Dangote Industries were founded. We have been around for close to 50 years now. So for us, we are not perturbed in any way. If it was a deceit, we are still here. Our tools are still available, Kayode. Our tools of negotiation, our tools of discussion, and our tools to take it to the maximum level. We are fully here. And we also informed them during that meeting, that was why those assurances came. The instrument of state, they said that they will force the system to do what is right, that we will do what is right, and that they will also force him to do what is right. We had those assurances from the highest level. So, Kayode, we are not government, right? So when government also give us assurances, when they also speak, we also need to give them some benefit of the doubt. Do we have our suspicion? The answer is yes. Do we truly believe that he is going to go ahead to do what is right? The answer is no, because they have serious history of breaking agreements and of not following the rule of law or doing what is right. We know all these. We know all these. We are not oblivious of these at all. But having said that, when you have strong appeal from the government of the land, when you have strong push and strong conversations and promises to say, don't worry, we will ensure that XYZ will be done. And we told them that no problem. We will listen to, after the NEC meeting yesterday, we also reached out to them that, okay, the NEC has decided to do this, but we are giving the benefit of the doubt. We are not giving Dangote that benefit of the doubt. It is you, government. We are giving benefit of the doubt. And you must ready on Dangote to do the needful. If it doesn't do the needful, our tool is purely available. We've been around for close to 50 years, so we'll never get tired of struggling and pushing for what is right. So for us, it's a situation whereby we prioritize the lives of our families. Not that we are confident that he's going to implement it 100%, but we put the lives of the families first to say, okay, go back to work first. No problem. In fact, they even told us that some of them, they will send them to some of the areas where we have traditional scope. We don't have problem about that. So anyhow you do it, we are following, we will monitor the process. And whenever we see that the workers are being shortchanged, because it's not about PENGASSAN. It is about the workers. It is about the Nigerians that were abruptly terminated because they were exercising their freedom to association. I was listening to your guest earlier that said that PENGASSAN would have approached Dangote earlier. I said no. Again, it's also the information out there. First, there was a meeting between the top leadership of Dangote Refinery with NUPENG and PENGASSAN close to about 2-3 years ago. We had a meeting where assurances and all that were given. So we started following up earlier. We were extremely proactive. So it's not that we waited till today before having those conversations. No, we had the conversations earlier. But unfortunately, when the people decided to exercise their right, this was what now happened to them.
All right. On the matter of patriotism, you have said that this is not about PENGASSAN, but it's about the right of the Nigerian workers. I'm just wondering if you'd be willing to make the books of PENGASSAN and New Peng open such that we can truly confirm that this is not about check-off dues.
Bukola, check-off dues, it's a percentage of what people earn, Bukola. Bukola, when you say make the book open to know about check-off dues, I don't really understand. PENGASSAN is funded by check-off dues, so there is no ambiguity about that. Bukola, when you belong to your village association, you pay dues to your village association. So no pretense about that whatsoever. But I wish to state, which I also said in the press conference yesterday, Bukola, the 800 members that are sacked in Dangote, we did an analysis. The total pay of those 800 members that are sacked in Dangote is less than only 20 members in an IOC, the salary. In IOC, we have tens and tens and tens of thousands of members. Only 20 of our members in IOC average, that earn average pay. Their pay is bigger or higher than the 800 members in Dangote that was terminated. So what are we talking about? Check-off dues is a percentage of what you earn. These people, their earning is ridiculously abysmal. So if we are talking about check-off dues, Bukola, why would we agree? We will say no, they must come to PENGASSAN. We will say if we are not prioritizing their families, we would have insisted that no way, that you must bring them back to refinery so that all of them will be under the purview of PENGASSAN. We would have insisted. So it is not about check-off dues, Bukola. It is what PENGASSAN has done over the years is improving lives in Nigeria, is improving families in Nigeria, is improving the life of workers. There is no company that PENGASSAN has existed till date that has not touched the life of the workers in those companies. The earnings in the oil and gas industry today is not by accident. The fact that Nigerians want to work in the oil and gas industry, when you finish university, the first thing you think about is how do I get a job in the oil and gas industry? It's because of the work that PENGASSAN has done over the years, Bukola. And that is why the earning is where it is today. It's not because the capitalists intend to pay well. It's not because the capitalists love the workers much more than their profit. No, it is actually because of the fact that PENGASSAN has worked closely with management and has prioritized the company and also the welfare of its members that has actually situated the pay of the oil and gas where it is today. So the people came to PENGASSAN because they wanted to better their lives. Like as I have said, the 800 members there, their average pay add together is less than just 20 members working an IOC in Nigeria. So what are we talking about? So it's not about check-off dues, but it's about the welfare of the people there. Bukola, you need to speak to people that are working in that refinery. They will tell you how they've been badly treated over the years.
All right. I would also like to see the books, Mr. Usifo, because Dangote has, spoken quite highly about the remuneration of his workers in different fora. But I'd like you to also speak to your agitation, which is the preservation of the right of the workers to unionize. But Alhaji Dangote has said, or the statement put out by the company, has used a strong word accusing these staff of sabotage. Some people are saying that if you go to private banks, they do not unionize. If you go to private medical institutions, unionism is not allowed. And Dangote is a private concern. What do international labor laws say about compelling a private employer to allow its workers unionize?
Thank you so much, Bukola, for that question. Before I answer that question, I think I missed one of the questions that Kayode asked about if you're forcing unwilling employer forcing the employees on the willing employer. First, yes, you have the right to hire, but to fire, there are processes. You won't just come in today, hire someone, then tomorrow you didn't follow the laid down rules and processes to fire the person. We have the Trade Union Act, we have the labor laws, we have our constitution. So the process of firing is very, very clear. Kayode, those people were hired by giving them individual letters, right? You gave them individual letter, you gave them the condition of service, but you now came and you have
Oh dear, we hope that the network would improve such that Mr. Usifo can provide clarity on these very gray areas. He's back now. Mr. Usifo, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I think the network is a bit unstable. So first, you have the right to fire, but to hire. You have the right to hire, but to fire, there are processes you must follow according to the rules and according to the laws. It's just like redundancy. If a company is declaring redundancy, there are processes you must pass through in order to achieve that redundancy. That's that. Then coming back to Bukola's question. What was the question again, Bukola?
What do international labor laws say about compelling an employer to allow its workers to unionize?
Yes, to allow unionization. Bukola, PENGASSAN exists in about 160 companies today. In the 160 companies today, Bukola, I can confidently tell you that less than 10 are government institutions. That means over 90% of the companies that PENGASSAN exists today are actually private sector. I have worked in private sector all my life. I have never worked in government. I have worked in the upstream sector of the petroleum and gas industry for the last 20 years plus. So clearly, that is number one. Then number two, Bukola, the law did not discriminate. The law protects the employers. First, our constitution defines the right. Our constitution defines the right and freedom of association, number one, section 40. Bukola, also, the Trade Union Act also defines that an employee has the right of unionism and also has the right to collective bargaining agreement. It did not discriminate between the private sector and the public sector. That is why PENGASSAN is in over 150 private organizations or private companies today. Chevron is private, Shell is private, ExxonMobil is private, Total Energies, both upstream and downstream, they are all in PENGASSAN, they are private. ExxonMobil, upstream, downstream, in PENGASSAN, before they sold to Double One, they are private. I could go on and on. So the law did not discriminate. The ILO convention never discriminates between, in fact, the people that even need unionism more, the people that need that right to collective bargaining agreement much more, it's even people working in the private organization. People working in private companies, they even needed that much more than those even working in the government establishment. So PENGASSAN, we are existing in about 150 private organizations in Nigeria, including the company where I work. So it is not about that. The law protects them 100%. The law is on the side of the employees 100%.
Well, comrade, let's wind down on this point. I must say that clearly trust needs to be built between both parties, because it looks like there's a major breakdown of trust. Looks like you don't trust Dangote refinery to keep to its word. They don't also trust you, and if there's going to be any relationship that will thrive, trust is important. Secondly, you've also claimed that the remuneration package, which is a very important point, of the 800 plus people that were terminated is low compared to, you said 20 people. The dues that 20 people pay in PENGASSAN is more than the dues that 800 people plus pay. So that's a major one, and it's important to get clarity also from Dangote refinery. But here's the final point, comrade. There are those who see PENGASSAN, the unions, as a clog in the wheel, and they look back to the previous experience under Nigeria's refineries, whether Port Harcourt and others, and they say, well, we see how these refineries ended. And we see you also as a major party in that. So how about you allow Dangote refinery operate? Let it do its thing. Let it supply petrol to Nigerians without the queues and perennial problems. And let's all have a happy ending in that sense. What do you say to those people who see you as a clog in the wheel?
Kayode, PENGASSAN has existed in Shell for over 40 years. Shell has invested over $200 billion in Nigeria. PENGASSAN has existed in Total Energies, ExxonMobil, Chevron, and all these private companies in the last 40 years. And each of these companies have invested close to $200 billion in the Nigeria economy. PENGASSAN did not kill these companies. Instead, PENGASSAN partnered with them. When these companies came to Nigeria, their investment was somewhere around maybe 20, 30 billion dollars. But the workers partner with them. Kayode, I think the press, you should also dissect, the oil and gas workers in Nigeria, Kayode, the oil companies, they literally go for the best. I said it in one of your sister's program that if you go to Shell alone, you are going to have close to 200 first class graduates, both Nigeria and abroad. They are members of PENGASSAN. If you come to Total Energies alone, you are going to have similar numbers of first-class distinction holders. They belong to PENGASSAN. So we are an association that are made up of intellectuals. So we are not just those kind of association that you think that are made up of people who does not have the requisite skills. So we have supported organizations to grow, Kayode. We have done that. So today, these companies, they've grown from tens of billions of dollars to hundreds of billions of dollars. The geologists, the engineers, the accountants, the lawyers, the medical doctors that work in this organization largely are members of PENGASSAN. So we have supported businesses to grow. So if we have supported Shell over the last 45 years, if we have supported Total Energies, if we have supported Halliburton, if we have supported Baker Hughes to grow their balance sheet, to ensure that the company survives, because we know very well that the company must survive before our our members' welfare will be taken care of. If the company died, our members' welfare will not be taken care of. Then coming to the refineries, Kayode, I've said this over and over again. The decision makers in the refineries are not PENGASSAN members, all right? So when let me ask you a question. PENGASSAN members will run NLNG. NLNG has been returning dividend to federal government year in, year out. Okay. They have been making stupendous profit year in, year out, and it's still a growing concern. All right. Because NLNG is largely a mix between the private sector and the government. And PENGASSAN, in the last 15 years plus, go and check the archive. We have advocated that government should exit this system of managing our refineries and should imbibe the NLNG model, whereby you have a consortium of the private sector having minimum of 50+1%, so that they will take the majority shareholding and government will move to minority.
Comrade, we have to anchor at this point. But clearly, this is never the end of a conversation. But I'm glad that at least things look better than they were just a few days ago. Nigerians can rest easy. They don't have to panic buy anymore, because I was beginning to see queues in filling stations. So we really hope that the trust is built. We hope that this means well eventually for the industry, and we're able to balance the powers. But Comrade, we have to thank you so much for your time. Comrade Festus Usifo wears two hats, I must say, the TUC hat and the PENGASSAN hat. I don't know how you juggle it, but we wish you the very best in this endeavor, Comrade Festus Usifo.
Thank you so much, Kayode. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Bukola. Yeah.